That's absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane.
It just shows a blatant misunderstanding of an important topic, right? This is an important concept. What's up, guys? So today we are going to be talking about TRT and specifically Marc Lobliner's recent comments on his TRT. Normally, I'm not a fan of call-out videos and things like that. However, in this specific case, I do want to bring attention to it because one, the person has a pretty large audience, and two, because I think it is problematic when it comes to people's health and is going to lead people astray in certain ways. So Marc put out this video and basically he had his total testosterone as 1,018 and he had his free testosterone as 323. So the reference range for normal testosterone, total testosterone, is about up to 1,100 depending on the lab. Quest and LabCorp are two big ones, but there are other ones. And then for free testosterone, it's about 155. Now, first of all, an important point that unfortunately just kind of demonstrates that Marc doesn't really know what he's talking about in this area is that he was saying how it's amazing. He put out a YouTube video on this as well you can check out. He said it's amazing that his free testosterone is 30% of his total.
323.7. That means over 30% of my testosterone is free. That's absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane.
Which is, again, I mean, just very basic endocrinology to have that misunderstanding. So just for reference, when you have your total testosterone levels shown, most of that is bound by proteins. So there's albumin and there's sex hormone binding globulin. And so there's different affinities for those two different proteins, but without getting into all of the details, most of your testosterone is bound, meaning about 2% is in the free form, right? So for him to think it's 30% means he doesn't even understand basic units. So total testosterone would be in nanograms per deciliter, and the free testosterone is in picograms per milliliter. So in reality, his is about 3.1, 3.2% is free compared to the total. And so again, I'm not trying to be demeaning here, but if you don't even understand that basic level, to be saying over and over in your videos, I can't believe my free testosterone is 30%, that's crazy.
That's absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane.
It just shows a blatant misunderstanding of an important topic, right? This is an important concept. I have plenty of clients who ask me about, either they have asked me about how to get on TRT, or they ask me if they should go on TRT, or they're already on TRT. And I think there are people who put out a lot of information on it. Another video I'll probably make is on Joe Rogan with his podcast with Huberman that had some surprising parts of it on there. So I'll make a video about that. But this is an important topic. And so again, just a general misunderstanding there. Now, something I agree with Marc on is that he said, well, I want to get the most out of the least dose, right? So get the most benefits out of the least exogenous dose. And I'm totally on board with that. If you're going to use any drug, you should know what benefits you're trying to get out of it and use the least amount of that drug to do so. However, the problem is he says in his video that he used to just look at total testosterone. And then he realized no, free testosterone is actually more important, and he just wants to use the dose necessary to get normal to upper normal, maybe even slightly above normal free testosterone. Great, I'm also totally on board with that. But then he acts like he's so happy to find out that his free testosterone is way out of the normal range. This is like saying that you got a letter from the FDA saying, hey, the product you bought, the ibuprofen you bought over the counter, is actually way overdosed, and so your blood levels are way higher. And you're like, oh, well, I was taking this to have ibuprofen in my body, so I'm super happy that it's 3 times the dose. It's like, well, yeah, now you're not in pain, but you also might have kidney failure because you're taking way too much of the drug. And so I'm not trying to say that high testosterone is going to kill you. I'm not even against TRT. That's not what this is about. What this is saying is that if you have levels of 323, I believe it was, levels of free testosterone at that high, you are way, way above the normal range, and you are absolutely going to experience the positive and negative effects of testosterone that high. And that brings me to the next point of just a great misunderstanding on what he was saying. He was saying in both his Instagram post and his YouTube video that this is great because he's not using too much exogenous testosterone, which again, the exogenous dose is important, but it's not the only factor. People can take varying doses of drugs and have hugely different responses and hugely different blood levels depending on how you metabolize it, as well as other factors, and if it's bound, and a number of other factors. And so to just act like exogenous levels is all that matters is also flawed reasoning. But to act like that's the only factor is misguided. And so what I mean by this is he was saying things like, this shows that I'm using it more. I'm taking the same dose, but I'm using it more. I'm using it better. And I told him, I mean, this isn't just me making a video without talking to him. I said this, you can read the Instagram comments, but I said, you seem to be under the misunderstanding that the levels of free testosterone are somehow your use of them. And he said that a number of times, I'm using it more, I'm utilizing it more.
This is why I'm crushing life. My body is utilizing every single possible milligram, nanogram, particulogram, whatever gram you want to measure as free testosterone.
And of course, he meant in this positive way, as if, well, I'm only taking X amount of testosterone exogenously, but I'm then using it in all of the beneficial ways, as if it only goes to my muscle tissue. And it's like, none of the bound testosterone, honestly, there's other factors to get into there, but for the most part here, the free testosterone is what is being utilized. Free testosterone is not a measure of what is being used. It's a measure of what is available to be used in all tissues of your body. So including your prostate, including your scalp, including your heart. It's not like that free testosterone is only going to your muscles and that is a sign of what's being used. It's just a serious misunderstanding of the physiology of this hormone. And so I don't want people to, if they're on TRT or if they're trying to take drugs that are going to lower, for instance, sex hormone binding globulin to increase free testosterone levels, to think that just higher and higher levels are better. I think mid to high normal is a great place to be. I think for most men, they're probably going to feel better at that level. But to think you should have these very super physiologic levels is not necessarily going to be harmless. But again, I really wanted to bring up that point about him saying, well, I'm using more of it. And it doesn't make sense. That's not how that works. It's what is available to be used in all tissues of the body. Points out that he doesn't think it's a problem because there are naturals who have high levels of free testosterone. First of all, effectively no natural would have a free testosterone that high. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if literally 0.0%. If there's anyone out there, it's a very rare anomaly. But almost nobody has naturally that high free testosterone, number one. Number two, even if they did, that doesn't mean that it's not potentially harmful. There are plenty of things that happen physiologically that are still problematic. Hyperlipidemia is a real thing that happens, quote unquote, naturally. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be a problem for you later in life. So even if that was true, which it's not, that some people have free testosterone to that level, it could still be problematic. And this is where, and again, I don't care what people do. I don't care if you want to use all the steroids in the world. I don't recommend it, but it's not my business in that sense. However, I think it's important to get the right information out there. And so in his case, if he's, I don't know if he's saying this, but if he is saying that, well, my testosterone is normal range and therefore it's just helping me feel better. It's basically, I hear this all the time, I'm just restoring my levels to what I had as a 20-year-old. I can almost guarantee that his levels were not like this as a 20-year-old. No 20-year-olds pretty much have levels like that. And at this point, I've said before, some people think TRT is this magic drug and it's going to make you this huge bodybuilder and it's going to have all these amazing effects. Legitimate TRT of 80 to 120 milligrams per week is not going to have that dramatic of effect for most people. It can make a big difference if you are actually hypogonadal and you have actually very low testosterone, and it could add a few pounds of muscle. But at his level, yes, that is when it could actually be causing a huge difference in the amount of muscle you're walking around with, especially given his former years of much higher cycles and things like that. So yes, if you've got somebody who for years and years and years used cycles and they're way above what they could have done naturally, and then they go on TRT, yes, some of these guys maintain, literally 20 to 40 pounds more muscle than they otherwise would have if they were natural. So in those cases, sure. Mark says he's 215, very lean at about 5'7". So if he's that muscular compared to when he was natural, I think he competed in the 150s. Obviously, he's holding on to way more muscle, in part due to more years of training, but largely due to the drugs and now staying on this clearly super physiological level of testosterone. The only other thing I would bring up is that he talks about how he's so confident that these supplements that he's taking, he named 2 of them that he's sure are helping. I don't know how you can make such a confident statement when that has not been tested, that hasn't been shown in studies. If you're that confident about it, I would say come off of it, just the supplements for 2 months and see what happens. I would be very surprised if those supplements did that. And again, even if it is the supplements that's doing it, I wouldn't recommend it because obviously in this case, it's not good. Or at least in my opinion, it's not good. He mentions that one of the products he takes, I think it's a test booster, and he says, well, the test booster has been shown to increase free and total. So therefore, even though I'm taking exogenous, it's helping me increase my free.
I did 2 things that I've never done before. I always said that taking a testosterone booster, if on TRT, is a waste. So MTS Nutrition Insurgent, that it raises your free and total test by 20%. So I think that whatever Prima V and the other ingredients in Insurgent is doing is helping my free test.
Again, logically, that doesn't really make sense because the reason a test booster would increase free is because it's increasing total and the free would go up by a similar percentage. So if you are shutting yourself down by taking exogenous testosterone, a testosterone booster would only increase free by increasing total unless, again, it had some way to reduce sex hormone binding globulin or albumin. And then I guess as a final point, he did not post his DHT levels or his estrogen. Well, testosterone converts to estrogen and DHT. And so if his free testosterone levels are this high, it would not at all surprise me to find that his estrogen is high and his DHT is high, unless he's taking an aromatase inhibitor for the estrogen or a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor for the DHT. And then, you really start getting into polypharmacy and things like that, and how this could be very complicated if things are not managed well. So that's the video for today, guys. Again, obviously, this does come across as harsh and a call out. I've had Marc on the channel not even that long ago. I don't have any personal problems with Marc. And if Marc and his doctor want to come on the channel and, talk about it, that's fine. But I think this is an important message, and I think this video should be shared and that information should be out there. If you are actually looking for testosterone replacement, then you should be in the physiological range on free testosterone as well. And I understand that in today's age, that's often not what is promoted, even by some doctors. I know some sports TRT doctors who literally will almost never prescribe less than 200 milligrams per week. That is going to have 99% of the population well above the normal range. So, that could be a whole nother topic and a whole nother video, but I wanted to point this out specifically. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, comment down below your thoughts, share the video, and I will see you guys next time.